before we get into the Clemson side of this, I do want to ask you guys, how do you see the top of the SEC kind of shaking out now? Tio, we'll go to you first on this one. Is it Auburn? Are they the best team? Is it Kentucky? Are they the best team? Tennessee? There's a very real chance that we look up today when we're recording this before the AP poll drops. We might look up and the top 3 teams in the country might be all from the SEC. And none of them will include Alabama. Like, the top of this league is just absolutely patently absurd.
Patently absurd. And you look up and down the league, and we made this point last week, like, no bad losses. I mean, Vanderbilt went down to TCU and won down there. Like, silly. The entire league is silly. Right now, I would put Tennessee at the top because their offense is humming. Chaz Lanier, that was a great call by you, Fant. I had my doubts because I thought that Dalton Connect was going to be was so good with the ball in his hands. Chaz Lanier is doing everything inside of 2 dribbles, and like, it almost helps those other guys more.
I will never bet against Rick Barnes.
Say that again.
I will never. Not that you were betting against him, but
no.
if I could invest in a coach and a program, it's Rick Barnes in Tennessee. I just know the take's probably going to age at least okay.
That's right. And you said Chaz was going to be this big time scorer, and I was a little bit skeptical because I didn't think he was kind of the creator that Dalton Connect is, and he's not. However, because he does everything within 2 dribbles and he's still efficient and he still pops the ball around, it's not limiting some of those other guys. I think Jordan Gainey's been good. I think Zakai Ziegler's found more opportunities. Like, their offense is moving better. The ball is popping around, and then their defense never went anywhere. So I'm going Rocky top number 1 right now. Auburn number 2, and it's nothing. It might as well be 1A and 1B because, like, those dudes have been so good. Both teams. I mean, the backcourt for Auburn was the question mark, but they're huge. They're switchable, and they can hit shots, and they have a bunch of spurtable dudes. I think that's 1A, 1B. I would go Tennessee. I would give them the edge right now. I mean, guys, Kentucky, Florida has been great. They're 9-0. Absurd. There's only one team with more than 2 losses in the entire league, and that's South Carolina. And if they don't drop one on opening night to North Florida, there are no bad losses in this conference. Like, it's insane. It reminds me of when the Big East was the old Big East, what was it, 2010 or something, where there was like 13,
10, 11.
Yeah, 10, 11, where it was like 11 bids. Like, SEC might get 11 bids, they might get 12.
Yeah.
Like, it is ridiculous how good it's been so far.
That's a great point because it's something that I want to, and I'll answer your question, Rob. But when you've got 36 at-large bids to the NCAA tournament, take out the 3 conference champions from the SEC, the Big 12, and the Big 10, right? So then you got 36. Let's just say there's 11 others from the SEC. Let's just say there's 10 from the Big 12, and there's 9 from the Big 10. I mean, you're potentially looking at 30 of your 36 at-larges being from the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC. I mean, that's a numbers game then. Then you're talking about like 6 or 7 at-larges that are going to be available between, the ACC, the Big East,
A10.
and I guess the WCC and the A10, and then the Mountain West.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you also could have a couple of teams in these leagues just, the bottom falls out and unexpected things happen, injuries happen. But the point is, like, you're going to get around 27 to 30 bids between those 3 conferences. So I haven't been for tournament expansion, but when I think about the numbers game a little bit, it does make me question, is 72 a more correct way? Just by virtue of it's tough. I have not been about it before, but it's the reason why I say it is sometimes with some of these leagues that have these 16 or 18 teams, it's hard to make out who's who by the time March rolls around because they're going to beat up each other, but their metrics were so good, they sort of beat the system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But SEC,
Big 12 dominated that last year.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn's the best team. They still are. Auburn has a top 2 player in the sport in Janai Broome. The other player is Cam Jones at Marquette. And they've got tough shot makers, and I still was impressed with them at Cameron Indoor Stadium. After Auburn, so I ranked Tennessee number 1, but I'm talking about winning the national championship. After Auburn, I'm putting Alabama still number 2 in that race. I still really think highly of the Crimson Tide. Don't fault the team for playing an insane schedule. And Mark Sears is still absolutely fantastic. And, they were in a great game with Oregon. I want to see certain complementary pieces come together. You know, young blood. I want to see what he brings to the table. But I just trust Nate Oates in the tournament quite a bit. And then now it's a debate. You know, I also think Jimmy Dykes said this over the weekend. I'm really intrigued to see Florida play a big game, Rob.
Yeah.
Because I think Florida, we can't give a proper evaluation yet. But Jimmy Dykes, who I think is outstanding. We don't do podcast guests very often. I'd love to get him on to like a special edition because the SEC.
Where would you be seated on Jimmy's jet?
What's that?
Where would you be seated on Jimmy's jet? Would you be first class?
Not next to the Auburn players. So for me,
well done.
So for me, like Walter Clayton, Will Richard, that team talent wise, Jimmy said over the weekend that he thinks Florida's as good as the other teams. Tio, if that's the case, this could be the best season by a conference in the history of college basketball.
Yeah.
In their non-conference, they have the best winning percentage at 87% by a conference since 1996. I was a year old.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
eight.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous the top of that league.
You were 8, but did you have a girlfriend?
No, but Damon does. Dude, hey, look. If you dude, Damon has more swag you wouldn't even want to know right now. He went to his girlfriend's birthday party. It was a full-blown situation. I was getting pictures and he was all smitten. We're not talking about Damon. We're talking about Florida. Hey, look,
you
Florida.
Said your son was smitten.
He's smitten.
I don't even know what that means.
He's really he's head over here for this girl. Her parents are astrophysicists at Clemson. There's no conversation going on at the dinner table. I'm not smart enough. I am not smart enough to keep up with these people unless they want to talk about the intricacies of the 5-out Zoom offense.
Hey.
I've got nothing for them. Hey, but here, you know what's crazy?
Hey, hold on.
I'm not mad at.
You can't get two more polar opposites than a family whose parents are the astrophysicists and then the whole Oglesbys.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining what that dinner would be like at a wedding.
If nothing else, it'd be fun. I can promise you that. Hey, look, so it's almost not Florida's fault that they hadn't played big games. Like, I thought Wake Forest would be better than they have been so far. Like, they haven't been terrible, no horrible losses. But, like, it's not really Florida's fault. They played Virginia, who has been Virginia. Next two non-cons are going to be important for Florida. They got Arizona State, who's been better than everybody thought.
Right.
And then they have North Carolina in a semi-away game in Charlotte. They get both of those. Like, just go ahead and write it off. I want to give the SEC 12 bids because, like, it's insane what the conference has been able to do. There's going to be no quad 3 opportunities in the league. Think about that.